The Princess and the Dragon. In the peaceful kingdom of Eldoria, located between dense forests and high mountains, life flowed harmoniously. This kingdom was famous for its natural beauty and the legend of the dragon that protected its inhabitants. Inside the magnificent palace, Princess Aria, a 16-year-old girl, lived a life filled with rules and expectations. Princess Aria was an intelligent and brave figure, with long golden blonde hair and bright blue eyes that reflected her adventurous spirit. Although she was a princess, Aria felt trapped in the monotonous routine of palace life. She preferred exploring the forest and learning about magical creatures rather than attending formal events at the palace. Lira, her loyal best friend, was a village girl with deep knowledge of legends and folklore. With her dark brown hair and cheerful smile, Lira always supported Aria in her quest for adventure. She often told stories about the dragons that protected the kingdom, but also warned of the dangers that could arise if the dragons were angered. One bright morning, Aria sat in the palace garden, surrounded by colourful flowers. She watched the birds flying in the sky and longed for freedom. In her mind, she imagined the adventures she could have outside the palace walls. "Aria, you need to stop dreaming and start preparing to be a queen," said her mother, Queen Eleonora, as she approached. Queen Eleonora was a graceful and wise woman, but she was also very strict in raising her daughter. "I know, mother, but I feel like something greater is waiting for me out there," Aria replied with a hopeful tone. Queen Eleonora sighed. "Your duty is to protect this kingdom, Aria. Remember, many depend on you." After that conversation, Aria went to the palace library, where she often spent her time. She opened old books that told tales of dragons and the adventures of heroes. One book caught her attention, titled The Guardian Dragon of Eldoria. The book described dragons as powerful and wise creatures, but they could also be very dangerous if threatened. Aria was fascinated by the stories. She imagined what it would be like to meet a dragon and forge a friendship with the legendary creature. However, she also felt a deep fear about what could happen if the dragon were angry. As dusk approached, Aria decided to take a walk in the garden. She heard a strange sound coming from the direction of the forest. The sound resembled a deep roar, but it was also filled with sadness. Her curiosity ignited, and she felt compelled to investigate. "Aria, don't go too far," Lira shouted from behind. "You know the forest is dangerous." "But Lira, I have to know what's happening," Aria replied excitedly. She ran toward the forest, leaving a worried Lira behind. As Aria entered the forest, darkness began to envelop her surroundings. She felt a tension in the air, but her curiosity was stronger than her fear. With each step, the sound became clearer, and Aria knew that the adventure she had dreamed of might be waiting for her ahead. Aria ventured deeper into the forest, where sunlight began to fade, and the sounds of nature replaced the tranquility of the palace. The roar she had heard grew louder, and her curiosity intensified. She tried to calm herself, recalling all the stories Lira had told her about dragons and their powers. After walking for a while, Aria arrived at an open area surrounded by tall trees. In the center of the area, she saw a large figure lying on the ground. Cautiously, Aria approached and was shocked to realize that it was a dragon. The dragon had shimmering emerald green scales but looked weak and injured. "Who dares to approach?" The dragon's deep, heavy voice echoed, startling Aria. However, she did not back down. I am Princess Aria of Eldoria," she replied with a trembling voice. "What happened to you?" The dragon lifted its head, gazing at Aria with deep yellow eyes. "My name is Drakon. I was attacked by hunters who wanted to capture me. They do not understand that I am the guardian of this forest." Aria felt pity seeing the wounds on Drakon's body. "I will help you," she said firmly, "but we must leave here quickly before the hunters return." Drakon nodded, though he looked in pain. "I cannot fly in this condition. We need to find a safe place to hide." Aria thought for a moment. There is a cave nearby that I often visit. We can hide there until you recover. Carefully, Aria helped Drakon to stand. Despite his large body, Aria felt a connection with the dragon. They began to move slowly toward the cave, with Aria constantly checking around to ensure no hunters were lurking. Upon reaching the cave, Aria helped Drakon lie down on the soft ground. Aria felt sorry for Drakon's condition. "What can I do to help you?" she asked, determined to assist the legendary creature. Drakon explained that he needed a special potion that could only be found in the forest. "There is a rare plant that grows near the river, but that place is guarded by dangerous creatures," he said. Aria felt excited. "I will help you find it. We can do it together," she said confidently. Drakon looked at her with respect. "You are brave, Princess Aria, but this is not an easy task. You must be ready to face danger." Aria nodded, feeling that this was her chance to prove her courage. She knew that helping Drakon was not just about saving the dragon, but also about finding her true self. "I will not back down. We will find that potion," she declared. With renewed spirit, Aria and Drakon began to plan their journey to the river. Aria felt that this adventure would change her life forever. As they prepared to leave, Aria felt a strong bond with Drakon. She knew that this was the beginning of something great, and she was eager to face the challenges ahead. "Are you ready, Drakon?" Aria asked, looking at the dragon, who now seemed stronger despite still being injured. "I am ready, Princess Aria. We must move quickly before the hunters return," Drakon replied, carefully moving his large wings. They began to follow the winding path through the trees. The sounds of nature surrounded them, and Aria felt connected to the forest that she had only seen from afar. She observed every detail, from the chirping birds to the leaves rustling in the wind. "Do you often explore this forest?" Drakon asked, noticing Aria's fascination. "Yes, but never this far. I have always wanted to know more about this place," Aria replied enthusiastically. After some time walking, they arrived at an old wooden bridge crossing a small river. However, the bridge looked fragile and unstable. Aria felt hesitant, but Drakon urged her to continue. "We have to cross. This is the only way to the plant we are looking for," Drakon explained. Aria nodded, trying to calm herself. She stepped slowly, but suddenly a rumbling sound came from the direction of the forest. They both jumped in surprise and saw a group of terrifying creatures emerging from behind the trees. The creatures had large bodies and glowing red eyes, ready to attack. "Drakon, what should we do?" Aria asked in panic. "Get ready, we have to fight them," Drakon replied, spreading his large wings. Aria felt adrenaline coursing through her. She knew this was a crucial moment to show her bravery. With newfound courage, she took her position beside Drakon, ready to fight. Drakon breathed fire from his mouth, driving the creatures away. Inspired by Drakon's bravery, Aria tried to find a way to help. She remembered some simple spells she had learned from the books in the library. "With the power of nature, I call upon the light," Aria shouted, raising her hand. A bright light appeared, confusing the creatures and giving them a chance to escape. After successfully driving the creatures away, Aria and Drakon looked at each other, feeling relieved, but also exhilarated. "We did it!" Aria exclaimed, a wide smile on her face. "Yes, but we must remain vigilant. This is just the beginning," Drakon nodded. After crossing the bridge and fighting, Aria and Drakon continued their journey cautiously, aware that they might be being watched. As they moved further, suddenly they heard rustling in the bushes. Aria held her breath, and Drakon raised his head, ready to face whatever emerged. From behind the bushes, a group of small creatures resembling goblins appeared. They had green skin and glowing eyes, with sharp weapons in their hands. One goblin, who seemed to be the leader, stepped forward and glared at Aria and Drakon with hatred. "Who are you to dare enter our territory?" shouted the goblin leader. "We don't like intruders here." Aria felt scared, but she tried to remain calm. "We are just looking for a potion to heal this dragon," she replied, pointing to Drakon. "We mean no harm to you." However, the goblins did not seem impressed. "A dragon! We won't let you go that easily. Dragons are our enemies," shouted the goblin leader, raising his weapon. Drakon growled, showing his sharp fangs. "We are not looking for trouble, but if you attack, we will fight," he said in a deep, threatening voice. Aria realized that this situation could end badly. They looked aggressive and ready to attack. "Aria, stay behind me," Drakon ordered, spreading his wings to protect the princess. Aria felt tension within her, but she knew she had to stay calm. The creatures lunged at them, emitting terrifying growls. Drakon breathed fire from his mouth, trying to drive them away. Some creatures fell, but others continued to attack fiercely. Aria felt panic, but she knew she couldn't just stand still. She looked for something to help Drakon. Nearby she saw a large branch. Quickly she grabbed it and prepared to fight. "Drakon, I will help you," Aria shouted, stepping forward with the branch in her hand. She swung the branch at the approaching creatures, trying to protect Drakon. Drakon, seeing Aria's bravery, felt inspired. "All right, we can do this together," he said, breathing fire again to drive the creatures away. With strong cooperation, Aria and Drakon managed to defeat the creatures. After a while, silence returned to the forest. Aria and Drakon looked at each other, relief evident on their faces. "You are very brave, Aria," praised Drakon, nodding with respect. "Without your help, I might not have been able to handle them." Aria smiled, feeling proud. "We make a great team, Drakon. We can face anything together." After the battle, they continued their journey toward the river, more alert and united. Aria realized that this adventure was not just about saving Drakon, but also about finding strength within herself. She felt increasingly confident and ready to face whatever lay ahead. As they walked, the sound of the flowing river began to be heard, adding a new spirit to their journey. Aria felt a flow of positive energy coursing through her, as if every step she took brought her closer to a greater purpose. "We must stay vigilant," Drakon said, breaking the silence. "This forest holds many secrets, and we do not know what may be lurking behind the trees." Aria nodded in agreement, realizing that although they had overcome one obstacle, many more challenges awaited. However, the newfound confidence within her made her feel ready to face anything. "We will face it together, Drakon." "Nothing can stop us," she said enthusiastically. With unwavering determination, they continued their journey, supporting and strengthening each other. Every step brought them closer not only to the river, but also to a deeper understanding of themselves and the power of the friendship that had formed between them. They continued their journey toward the river. Aria felt more confident after that experience. She realized that she was not alone in this adventure, and Drakon was a reliable friend. Finally, they arrived at the edge of the clear river. Aria saw the rare plants growing by the water's edge. "There it is! We found it!" she exclaimed joyfully. However, as they approached the plants, Aria felt tension in the air. She knew they had to remain vigilant, as danger might be lurking around them. With renewed spirit and a sense of caution, Aria and Drakon prepared to take the potion they needed. Aria gazed at the shimmering plant with hope, but her instincts told her that something was not right. "Drakon, we need to be careful," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "I feel like we are being watched." Drakon nodded, his wings slightly unfurling, ready to fly if necessary. "I will check around," he said, flying low to the ground to survey the area around them. As Drakon flew, Aria examined the plant more closely. Suddenly, she saw a shadow moving among the trees. "Drakon, there's something over there," she shouted, pointing toward the shadow. Drakon immediately landed beside Aria, and they both prepared to face any potential threat. "We cannot let anything stand in our way," Drakon said, his eyes sharp as he scanned the surroundings. Cautiously, Aria stepped forward, trying not to draw attention to the lurking creature. "We need to be quick," she whispered. "This potion is very important." They both tried to remain calm, even as the tension mounted. Aria took Draken's hand, and they encouraged each other. "Together, we can overcome anything," Aria promised. Finally, they reached the glowing plant. Aria extended her hand, feeling the energy vibrations from the potion. "This is it," she said. "We need to take it carefully." However, as Aria reached for the potion, a rumbling sound echoed from the direction of the trees. They both jumped in surprise and quickly prepared to face whatever would emerge. From behind the bushes, a large creature with glowing eyes and sharp fangs appeared. "You will not take this potion," the creature shouted, its voice echoing throughout the valley. Aria and Drakon exchanged glances, realizing they had to fight to protect the potion they had fought for. "We cannot back down now," Aria said firmly. The battle began, and they had to use all their strength and cunning to protect the precious potion. With courage flowing within them, Aria and Drakon prepared to face the evil creature blocking their path. Aria took her position in front, while Drakon flew high above her, ready to attack from the air. "I will draw its attention," Aria said, "while you attack from behind." Drakon nodded, his wings vibrating with energy. "All right, we need to move quickly and coordinate," he said, his eyes focused on the threatening creature. The creature stepped forward, emitting a terrifying growl. Aria stood her ground. She stepped forward and threw a rock at the creature to distract it. "Come on, Drakon!" she shouted. Drakon immediately swooped down, unleashing a fiery blast toward the creature. The fire hit the creature's wing, causing it to stagger back. However, the creature did not give up easily. Angrily, it lunged at Aria, trying to attack her. Aria quickly dodged, running to the side to avoid the attack. "We need to be faster," she shouted. Drakon, seeing an opportunity, swooped back and attacked from the other side, creating confusion for the creature. "We can do this," he shouted, his spirit ignited. With good teamwork, Aria and Drakon continued to attack the creature from various angles. Aria used all her fighting skills, while Drakon utilized his strength and flying speed to evade counterattacks. "We're almost there," Aria yelled, seeing the creature starting to tire. Finally, after a series of coordinated attacks, the creature fell to the ground, weak and helpless. Aria and Drakon looked at each other, sensing victory was near. "Now take the potion," Drakon urged, his voice filled with excitement. Aria quickly ran toward the glowing plant, grabbing the potion they had been searching for. "We did it!" she shouted, joy overflowing in her heart. With the potion in hand, Aria instructed Drakon to drink it. After Drakon drank the potion, he felt energized, and the wounds on his body began to heal slowly. Then they continued their adventure deeper into the forest, stepping forward, following the flow of the river leading to unknown places, but with the confidence that together they could overcome any obstacles ahead. Their adventure had just begun, and Aria knew that every step they took would bring them closer to a greater purpose. As they walked, the atmosphere around them began to change. The tall, dense trees started to give way to vast meadows where sunlight warmed the ground. Aria inhaled the fresh air filled with the scent of wildflowers, and she felt as if the world around her was welcoming them. "Look, Drakon, this place is so beautiful," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling at the stunning view. Drakon smiled, feeling the same joy. "Yes, this is an amazing place. We must be careful, but we should also enjoy the beauty around us." They continued their journey, exploring the vast meadow while sharing stories and laughter. Aria felt increasingly close to Drakon, and every moment they spent together strengthened their bond of friendship. However, in her heart, she also felt a tension about the possible challenges they might face in the future. After a while of walking, they arrived at the edge of a deep ravine, where the river they had been following flowed swiftly below. Aria looked down, feeling a knot in her stomach. "How can we continue from here?" she asked, a little worried. Drakon examined the ravine closely. "We need to find a way to cross. There might be a bridge or a place we can use to jump." Aria nodded, trying to calm herself. "We can do this, Drakon. We just need to think and work together." With unwavering spirit, they began to search for a way to cross the ravine. Aria knew that although this challenge seemed daunting, they had each other to support one another, and with that confidence, they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. They stepped cautiously along the edge of the ravine, their eyes focused on every possible option. Aria noticed large stones scattered around, and an idea began to form in her mind. "What if we use these stones to create some sort of temporary bridge?" she suggested, pointing to some stones that looked large and stable enough. Drakon nodded, seeming to agree with the idea. "That could be a good solution. We can arrange these stones to create a safe path." With renewed enthusiasm, they began gathering the stones around, carefully arranging and stacking them. Each time they successfully placed a stone, Aria's confidence grew. "We're almost there," she exclaimed as they managed to create a path wide enough to cross. Drakon smiled, feeling proud of their teamwork. "We are indeed a great team, Aria. Together we can do things we never thought possible." After a while, they finally completed the temporary path connecting the edge of the ravine to the opposite side. Aria stood at the edge of the path, looking across with a mix of tension and excitement. "Are you ready, Drakon?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "Ready," Drakon replied firmly, looking at Aria with confidence. "We can do this. Remember, we support each other." With each other as motivation, they began to step onto the path they had created. Every step felt tense, but they looked at each other and encouraged one another. Finally, they successfully crossed the ravine, and Aria felt an overwhelming wave of relief as she set foot on solid ground on the other side. "Look, we did it!" Aria shouted, jumping for joy. Drakon laughed, feeling the same happiness. "We can overcome anything if we unite. Now, let's continue this adventure." With burning enthusiasm, they continued their journey, ready to face the next challenge waiting ahead. Aria felt stronger and more confident than ever, knowing that with Drakon, nothing was impossible. As they moved further, the scenery around them became more breathtaking. The vast meadows began to give way to lush forests, where sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating beautiful patterns of light on the ground. The sounds of birds chirping and the wind rustling among the trees added to the magical atmosphere surrounding them. "This place is so beautiful," Aria said, enchanted by the natural beauty around her. "I feel as if we are in a different world." Drakon nodded, his eyes shining with wonder. "Yes, nature has a way of providing wonders. We must cherish every moment we have here." They continued walking, exploring the dense forest while sharing their stories and dreams. Aria felt increasingly close to Drakon, and every conversation made her realize how meaningful their friendship was. However, amidst the happiness, Aria also felt a subtle tension. She knew that their journey was not over, and new challenges might soon arise. Suddenly, they heard a rumbling sound from a distance. Aria and Drakon looked at each other, sensing the tension in the air. "What is that?" Aria asked, her voice trembling slightly. "I don't know, but we must be careful," Drakon replied, looking toward the sound. "Let's approach cautiously and see what's happening." With careful steps, they continued their journey, trying to remain vigilant. Aria felt her heart racing, but she knew that with Drakon, they could face anything that would come. With courage and strong friendship, they were ready to confront the new challenges waiting ahead. As they approached the source of the sound, the rumbling became clearer, and Aria could feel the vibrations in the ground beneath their feet. "It seems the sound is coming from deeper in the forest," Drakon said, trying to calm Aria. "We must stay united and not panic." They stepped closer, and as they entered a denser area, they saw a shimmering light among the trees. Aria held her breath, curious about what they might find. "Do you see that?" she asked, pointing toward the sparkling light. Dracon nodded, his eyes shining with curiosity. "Yes, let's take a closer look, but remember, we must stay alert." Carefully, they stepped toward the light, and as they got closer, the rumbling sound transformed into the sound of rushing water. Finally, they arrived at the edge of a magnificent waterfall, the water cascading from a height and creating a fine mist that sparkled in the sunlight. "Wow, this is amazing!" Aria exclaimed, captivated by the natural beauty before them. Dracon smiled, feeling the same wonder. "We have found something incredible. This is a reward for our journey." They stood there for a moment, enjoying the stunning view and feeling the peace flowing around them. Aria realized that although their journey was filled with challenges, every step brought them closer to unexpected beauty. The view before them was a vast valley surrounded by towering mountains, with a clear river flowing through the middle. Lush green trees and colorful flowers added to the breathtaking natural beauty. Aria felt as if they had entered a different world, far from all the difficulties they had faced before. "This is a moment we will never forget," Dracon said, his voice full of gratitude. "Every challenge we faced brought us here, to this beautiful place." Aria nodded in agreement, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "We must cherish every moment, Dracon. This is proof that all our efforts were not in vain." They continued to explore the valley, feeling the cool breeze gently blowing on their faces. Aria took a moment to observe every detail of the beauty around her, from the sounds of chirping birds to the fresh aroma of the earth and plants. "I feel so alive here," she said, her smile never fading. Dracon looked at Aria with admiration. "You are right. This place gives us new strength. We must keep moving forward and explore even more." With renewed spirit, they continued their journey, feeling the positive energy flowing between them. Every step felt lighter, and their curiosity burned brighter. Aria felt as if nature around them was supporting them, giving them the encouragement to continue exploring the wonders yet to be revealed. "Let's see what's behind that hill," Aria said, pointing toward the towering peak in the distance. Dracon nodded in agreement, and they both began to climb with enthusiasm. As they approached the summit, a wider view began to unfold before them, and Aria couldn't contain her amazement. "Look, Dracon, it's more beautiful than I imagined," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling at the vast expanse of nature. Dracon smiled widely, feeling the same happiness. "We are truly lucky to be here. Every moment we spend in this place is something precious." They stood at the top of the hill, feeling the cool breeze gently blowing, and Aria knew that their journey was not just about the destination, but also about the experiences and memories they created together. With burning enthusiasm, they prepared to continue their exploration, determined to discover more wonders in the world waiting ahead of them. As they moved forward, Aria and Dracon felt a drive to explore every corner of the natural beauty surrounding them. They passed through vast meadows, lush forests, and clear flowing rivers, while continuing to share laughter and stories. Every step brought them closer to new adventures, and Aria felt her heart filled with gratitude. Finally, as the sun began to set, they found a perfect place to rest. There, they sat side by side, watching the sky change colors to orange and red, creating a stunning view. "This is a perfect ending to an extraordinary day," Dracon said, looking at Aria with gratitude. Aria smiled, feeling a deep sense of peace. "We have been through so much, and every moment is precious. I can't wait to see what we will encounter next." With hearts full of hope and an unquenchable spirit, they both knew that their journey was still long. However, they were ready to face whatever would come because they had each other. And with that, they looked ahead, ready to continue an adventure filled with wonder and friendship. This story reminds us that with courage, cooperation, and vigilance, we can overcome various challenges in life. Moreover, our struggles for something greater than ourselves can bring hope and positive change to others.